I'm Liz Findlay, and welcome to this podcast series on inspiring spiritual entrepreneurs. We'll be chatting with some of the wonderful business owners who come to Starseed Business Networking. This is a free monthly meeting I co-host on Zoom with Steve Nobel, and you can find details of the next meeting on the events page of my website, lizfindlay.com. Today, we have the pleasure of meeting Marysol from the Magical Sound of Your Soul. She has her own business doing sound and energy healing, guided inner journeys, meditations, light language singing, spiritual coaching, and events. So Marysol, welcome.
Hi, Liz. Thanks so much for having me today.
Thanks for joining us. So share with us a bit about your journey and how you got into this business of yours.
Yes, okay, so I'm going to have to go back a little bit, but I'll try to make a long story short. So when I was a teenager, I felt the way probably most starseeds feel at some point. So I felt like different than everyone else. I felt like I don't belong here. I felt like there was something wrong with me.
Oh, yeah.
And and I just felt too much of everything. So I was highly sensitive. And I developed severe depressions, which lasted for many, many years. And there was nothing wrong with my life. I actually had a good life. So there was nothing in the outside world where I could say, this could be the reason why I'm depressed. And so I started seeing a number of therapists, and that didn't help at all. It was on a very analytical level. And so I said, okay, this is not going to work. And I've always been like a spiritual person. I always knew there was more, but didn't really understand what was going on back then. So I luckily found some people that work in the field of healing and consciousness and spirituality. And that just started changing everything. Like that opened doors and started, shifting so much. And I started to understand why I felt the way I felt.
And how old were you when you met these people?
Well, my depression started when I was around 15, 16, and it wasn't till I have to go back, let's see, I think it was my 20s when I actually then found those people. So there were quite a few years where I was really struggling because I had nobody from that field helping me. So that was in my early 20s, early mid-20s, something like that. Yeah, and so that just really changed something and guided me on this path that I'm on and helped me become who I am today and remember my gifts and remember who I am. And so while I was healing these aspects of myself and going in deeper, I started taking courses myself, like things like matrix energetics or quantum healing, rediscovering your medial gifts and things like that. And pretty early on, I knew that I wanted to work with people at some point. So that wish and desire to serve in this way was there pretty early on. But then, of course, it took many years for me to actually go into my own healing, to take these courses and to start developing my own way of facilitating healing and living my gifts. And so that's how this whole path got started. And I'm a singer and a performer. And so that was my main job. And then at some point I started working with people just like on the side that I talked to that were interested. And I noticed what amazing things happened in these sessions. So it just kind of started building up more and more. And then I started experimenting with the sound healing much more. And all of that journey has just brought me to where I am today.
Oh, that's amazing. And I saw a video clip of you as Morticia Adams, and I think you're the best Morticia Adams that I've ever seen. It was such a wonderful clip, and you have the most beautiful voice.
Thank you.
And I've joined some of your transmission evenings, and I absolutely love your light language singing. So can you share with us what inspired you? Because it is unique. I usually come across light language in the spoken form or some beautiful illustrations. What inspired you to use your beautiful gift of singing and combine it with the channeling of the light language?
Yeah, that was an interesting process, and thank you for your kind words. So, I mean, singing has always been my life. I've been singing since I was a child. I always said I want to be a singer. And then when I decided to make this my main mission and launch my business, I knew that sound and singing was going to be a big part of it. So in the beginning, it was more like toning, singing intuitively with sounds. And I always knew something wanted to come through. So I went through this whole process through a shamanic course where the light language came through. And I just started singing it at some point, and something fell into place, and I knew, oh, this is what I've been feeling. So to be able to have this, like I call it vehicle, this beautiful light language that can be filled with the light information and the codes, and it flows so intuitively, and I'm just so connected to what wants to come through in that moment. And it was such a relief when it came through. And it's such a joy. And that was also the process of surrendering to that. So not knowing what's actually going to come through, not knowing what I'm going to sing in a session or even at an online event. I was so used to rehearsing at theaters. You rehearse for 6 weeks. And this is just purely intuitive. And it's actually very freeing.
Wow. I didn't realize that it was totally intuitive. Because it comes across so professionally, it does sound like you've done some rehearsing.
No, I mean the words that come through, of course, are similar every time because every light language channel has like their unique way. So of course the way I sing and I don't want to say words, the combination of letters and, well, let's call it light language words, they will sound similar. But before I do a session or an event, I really don't know what I'm going to sing. I just have the background music, and of course I've sung to that music, so I'm in tune with the chords and the melody, but I don't know what is going to come through.
And do you create your own music?
Yes, so far, because I don't have a big producer yet for my spiritual music. So I create the background music, and as I'm going along, I'm starting to collaborate with other musicians so that we can create an even richer sound and create more music for the soul.
Well, you're multi-talented, because for my meditation tracks, I have to buy the commercial use music.
Well, I'm lucky through the theater work, because we had to play piano and do music theory. So luckily I know a little bit about it.
That's great. So share with us your one of your greatest tips that has helped your business, whether practical or energetic, something that you can inspire others with a hint or tip.
Well, to me personally, I find that one of the most, if not the most, important thing is the vibrational aspect. So, and it has like 3 key components for me. It's alignment, courage, and trust. Because if we're not a vibrational match with who we are and our dream business, we can be working 12 hours a day. It's going to be very hard to create what we've envisioned. So that vibrational alignment to me is very important. Then to have the courage to actually be who you are and to show yourself to the world with all of your aspects, with all of your gifts, and to release that fear of what others may think. So that was a process for me as well. And by doing that, stepping into your power. So showing the world your light and who you truly are. And the third component, trust, which is probably the hardest for most of us starseeds and light workers, because through past lives or even things in this lifetime, we've lost a lot of that trust. And so to come back to trusting yourself, your mission, your path, even if you can't see the results in the outside world straight away, to unconditionally trust yourself and your potential, your gifts, your knowing. That for me has changed a lot. And because I'm an impatient person, but always coming back to that trust, when I do that, it opens a space where you can then actually be really guided, because you're not trying to force things. And then you can act out of inspiration and not out of force. And so within that lies letting go and surrendering And that's very different, inspired action versus forcing something. So yeah, to sum it up, I'd say vibrational alignment, courage, and trust.
Oh, that's amazing. And I definitely resonate with what you say. Courage to leave employed work and trust that it's going to work out. And if it's meant to be, you'll be totally supported on your path. So that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
My pleasure.
So I'll quickly say that Marysol has her own podcast series. It's a talk series called Be in This World, but Not of It. Have I got that right?
Yes, perfect.
Yes. And so that's on her YouTube channel, which is Marysol, the magical sound of your soul. So do go check that out. And her website is marysol.vision, and I will post links below.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us, Marysol.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.